Afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I feel like the first few seconds always get cut off
They
when I go
do.
back and look at the replay. So I don't know if people are even seeing this yet. So
I don't know either, but it does give my heart a little bit of sadness that they can't watch us bumble around and be awkward.
well, they get about an hour of that, so it's fine.
Valid. Valid.
There is no escaping
There
the
is no
bumbling and the
escaping
awkward.
the
Okay, so Chris
We got
Bear
this.
is already here.
Hi, Chris Bear.
It's so exciting to be able to actually start the party at the beginning.
I mean, like, that's fantastic. He must have changed, like, stuff.
He rearranged his whole life for us. So, like people do.
I love it.
Okay, so when Lindsay like popped on in our, behind the scenes studio thing, I was like, "What?"
I know,
Because
it's my
she
eye.
had
It's all
not
like
shared with
puffy.
me. She had not shared with me her big life change. So Lindsay, address the elephant in the room.
I literally, it's like allergies or something.
You need to stop it.
So I've been for a little while just like struggling with my hair, and about once every 2-3-ish years I just go chop it all off and start over, and that's just the way I do things. I don't really ever have a plan for my hair because I feel like generally speaking it's just always there. I've not yet had it start to thin out on me or anything like that, so I'm like, it grows back, let's chop it off.
Yeah.
I'm always here for a change. Oh my word. Can we just like put Jared in timeout?
I think we should.
He needs a timeout. He claims it. It's not. So we have some friends that are down in Florida right now. And it occurred to me this morning, I was like, oh my gosh, her name is Natalie. I got the Natalie because this is like usually how her hair is.
Oh.
And yeah. He's like, is that the Rachel from Friends?
Bring back the style.
I don't have the Rachel. There's no long layer underneath to flip out. It's just a layered bob.
It's super cute. I think it's adorable.
Thank you. It's a layered bobbert.
Oh, there's someone else that agrees that it's the Rachel hair. All right, get used to it.
All right, we're gonna go for the Yorkie then. Just put it all up. Like I can't even put a proper
putting Jared in timeout.
He always needs a rock solid timeout. Sometimes he's
all right, so
sassy.
Everyone is here. Cindy is here. Rickwin is here. Tracy Bentley. Mad About Madigan.
Oh,
I don't know if I've seen your name before.
That's a fresh one. Fantastic.
Yes. Welcome. Just Jason Keto and more is here. And
hello, Jason.
Jared, the one and only Jared, is here.
I feel like I'm.
Oh, and he says he loves it. Okay, so good. At least there's that. That's, the most important thing.
Right.
That the husband loves it.
I mean, and the reality is there's no going back now.
Right. It's like, what's he going to say? Put it back on.
The girls are still very much so like, I just don't know. Because it's been longer for so long.
Yeah.
But it was one of those deals where I thought, it's just getting so irritating no matter what I do with it. So
you look like Mrs. Incredible.
I will happily take that compliment.
Yeah.
I love The Incredibles.
Yeah. You need to get some good lines to, throw in there.
I do.
You could have been Mrs. Incredible for Halloween.
I could have, but it didn't happen until last night.
Oh.
After Halloween was practically done.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was like one of those things where I wanted it cut on Saturday. So I go into this place I've never been to before. And I was like, well, I've never tried this salon. I'm going to try it out. And I'm not one who is like a diehard loyalist to a hair stylist. Just because we have always moved and there's just no sense in creating those lasting relationships for, for something to just like be gone.
Yeah.
Gosh, that sounds just so cynical, but but I was like, we've been here for like 4 years now. It's probably time that I at least just like try this salon out and see what happens. But she was like, they didn't have anybody available on Saturday. And they were like, well, Tuesday, it's right across from my daughter's dance studio. So she said, well, Tuesday I've got an opening, and that fit in perfectly with my kids' dance class. So I was like, that is the winner chicken dinner. Efficiency with time, I'm in. So I did that, and yeah.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history. And you know what? Mrs. Incredible looks incredible in red. And I have to say, I really like me in red too. So
I think it's perfect.
I feel like it's a solid correlation.
I'm so glad Chris is here for those kinds of, little nuggets.
Very helpful.
Brilliant.
Very helpful.
Yes. Blaze is here, of course. Rita is here. And let's see, anybody? Oh, FNP Feel Good is here.
Hello.
Afternoon there as well. Joanne is here. First day of November. Yes, and
it is. It is. Thank you, everybody, for loving my hair. I feel
super cute.
I feel so fancy.
And Janet loves your hair as well. Cheryl Davis is here.
Hello.
All right. So I feel like there was something. I have something in my mind to talk about, but I was like, is there something else ahead of that? I don't think so. Okay.
All I know is that I just decided to spring this on people. So
yes. Yeah.
That's what I bring.
Shock value.
Shock and awe.
Yeah. Okay. So we started this whole thing almost a year ago now, the Coffee Chats. It was December. Did we ever decide if it was actually December? We never went back and looked. But I think it was December.
It had to have been December.
Anyways, we're coming up on a year. And we started with the intention of like keeping each other accountable with like exercise and stuff. Whatever. That kind of blah, blah, fell by the wayside, which is fine, like it does. Anyways, but I was just going to let you know that I signed up for a boot camp class.
Where?
Okay, so it turns out it's like 5 minutes from, like less than 5 minutes from my house.
Fantastic.
So, like that's why I had to do it. Like we don't live 5 minutes from anything.
Right. Yeah.
And somehow this class is like less than 5 minutes from my house. So it's like I feel like it's a meant to be type of thing.
Absolutely.
So and then I told you, I don't know if I told everybody else, but this is so crazy how this all kind of started happening all of a sudden. I found out about a group of ladies that got together and did yoga every week. And so I've actually been doing that for a couple of months now, every single week. But they were taking November off because the teacher is going on vacation and Thanksgiving and stuff. And so
November is a very busy month.
It is. So anyways, we were going to take a break from that. And then right at the end of October, I just saw a Facebook post of a gal that's a personal trainer type, or does classes and stuff. And she's like, going to be doing this, holiday, keep yourself accountable and fit for the holidays thing. And it's like right down the street from my house.
That's amazing.
Like, this is perfect timing. It's, and it's something different. It's not yoga. I love the yoga and I want to keep doing that, but I
love yogurt too.
I love yogurt, especially from the Instant Pot. Anyways, I like, a different challenge, challenge my body in a different way. And I'm a little bit terrified. So, but because it's 2 days a week as well. One is a morning class and one is an evening class. And I'm signed up for all of it. So and the fact that it's just right down the street from my house, it's like, it's actually doable. So,
right. That is a very low barrier to entry.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited about it, but also terrified.
Yeah. I have really liked the boot camp style classes that I've done in the past at the YMCA, but there's a really high barrier to achieving that for me right now because it's a solid 18 to 20 minute drive and you have to sign up ahead of time. And, typically the spots go instantly once the class is like listed to be able to get into it. And then also I never quite can guarantee that there's going to be someone home with the kids. Yeah, if Jared's on a trip, it makes it kind of a hassle. And so I've definitely fallen out of the habit. But the fact that it's 5 minutes down the road from you, that is,
I feel like it just like landed in my lap because when we were at our old house, I had just before we like were thinking of moving very seriously, I had just gotten a gym membership. And I loved going to the gym and I got into the habit
Yeah.
of it. And then,
And
you
weren't you
move
doing
out
like
here.
laps and stuff there? Like
Yeah,
some
yeah. And they even had a
stuff?
hot tub. Like that was fantastic. Um, but you move out into the country and it's like I could go to a gym, but it would take me at least 20 minutes to get there. And it's
Right.
like I can't justify that, leaving the kids. Because, even though I do have a babysitter, it's like I'm still their mother and their teacher and they need me, it's
That's
like
right.
that's a long time to do more than once a week.
Yeah.
And this
Oh,
one,
yeah.
one of the classes is in the morning, like before they would be up, really. So that
Perfect.
works out well. And then one evening a week, that's fine. They can
For
survive,
sure.
an
For
hour
sure.
without me. I mean, no guarantees or anything, but I'm hopeful.
There's a stronger likelihood that they will survive you commuting 5 minutes
Yes.
versus 20
Yeah.
minutes each way.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like an hour-long class means that it's like almost a 2-hour time period that you're
That's
out
right.
of the house
Yeah.
effectively. And so it's like, is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah. And then
Sometimes
you're
it is.
like, I could just work out at home. And then you just don't.
Because then, oh, there's 8 things that I could get done in this amount of time
Yes.
right now.
Yes,
I
and
should go do.
or I'm at home and, like, I can just sit comfortably in my home and
Oh,
not do that, and there's no one to stop me.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
You need that external accountability.
we will see how it goes, but,
Yeah. That'll
I'm
be so
excited
fantastic.
and terrified at the same time.
Very cool. Do you have any idea of whether or not it's going to be like a lot of body weight type exercises, or you have to have some form of equipment?
Yeah, she just said to bring a yoga mat and a set of dumbbells,
Oh,
and
okay.
and I was
You
like,
have all that.
yeah. I asked, like, what size? Because I'm like, is it gonna be, like, jumping around with the dumbbells or, like
Or is it going to be like pump?
exactly, and so I still am not 100% sure. It sounds like HIIT training with some weight sometimes, so I picked,
Okay.
8
Middle of the road.
pounds, I think,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then if it's too easy, I can which I don't expect it will be with, like, HIIT and cardio. I probably will die. So anyways.
That'll
We'll
be
see
so
how it
excellent.
goes. The first class is tomorrow. There you go.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, very excited. Actually, it's gonna be yeah, I'm gonna make it happen, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be busy, but it's gonna be great.
And you're
Um,
going to struggle to go to the bathroom because your quads will hurt so much.
oh, how exciting.
I like that realistic kind of approach. Like
Yeah,
we know that your quads are going to be struggling. The
yeah.
stairs are going to
Well,
be problems.
that's true. One thing I wanted to mention, I had in my mind to mention back when I started yoga 2 months ago, and then I never ended up talking about it on here, but I will mention it now. So I started doing heavy weightlifting, the Chalene Extreme. I did the videos of the Chalene Extreme for a while, and then I'm like, why am I even still using these videos? I have the paper that has all the exercises on. I know how to do it. Like, why am I watching these videos? And so I've been fairly consistent, a couple times a week doing the heavy weightlifting to failure, um,
Hmm.
on all the different, body areas. And
Yeah.
I was really struck when I started yoga with how much easier it was in certain ways.
Ooh.
Yes. I was
Like you
like,
could hold a pose properly for a longer period of time.
yes. Yeah,
Mhm.
I could feel that I had more strength in those
Yeah.
areas or, go a little bit lower in the, warrior pose or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, yeah. And I felt like I got better at yoga by doing strength training than I do just doing more yoga.
Yes.
You think if you want to get better at yoga, you just do more of it. For me,
Right.
and I've been in places where I've been consistent with yoga,
Yep.
but I never got as good at yoga as I did when I strength trained. So that's not to say that you only should strength train and yoga is important. You need both, but
Combination of different things for
they
sure.
complement each other. So I was like, okay, this is really cool. Like it was another one of those confirmations where it's like, okay, my body is changing. Like even though I don't see it because I have, this nice layer that covers up everything, but there is changes going on underneath. Yeah.
That's so funny.
So
Yeah,
that was
it's kind of like
encouraging.
the concept of if you wanna have stronger bones, lift heavy things.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
very cool that you get to, like, have that firsthand, like, mind-body connection.
Yeah. It was
I mean,
awesome.
like, literally anybody could do that. It's just that you've actually decided to execute it and then have
That's right.
executed it.
I've
Because
done it
it's not enough to just
from
decide to execute, you have to really do it.
Isn't that frustrating?
It is so frustrating.
Michelle Baker is here. Jennifer Johnson is here. And
Hello,
let's
everybody.
see, Karen is here. She was saying that there was something different about you.
Oh, it's this puffy
Can't quite
eye from
can't quite
it.
put her finger on it.
It's yeah. I feel like there's like some allergens or something. This right eye of mine is just really, really struggling. Yeah, it's actually
Yeah.
I got my ears lengthened. That's what
Yeah.
happened.
There you go. There you go.
My granddad
Um,
used to say that to us if we got our hair cut. Did you get your ears lengthened?
yes. So funny. Those are those, grandma and grandpa jokes where you're just like,
Yeah, they're even
never get
like
old.
they're even more grown worthy than straight up just like dad jokes.
It's so true. It's so true. Ron's Keto Cafe is here.
Hello.
Hello, Ron. Let's see. Mad About Madigan says, just invested in a treadmill a few weeks ago, and it was just in the nick of time since it just turned fairly cold this week, and walking outside in the cold is painful. I agree. And I always, with things like that, I'm always like, in my mind, I'm like, it shouldn't matter. We should still be able to exercise in the cold, go out and do the walks in the cold. And then, you just kind of, I've learned to be a little bit more realistic. In a perfect world, maybe, but I'm not a perfect person in a perfect world.
I mean, like that's actually a news flash for me because I was not aware you were not perfect. But
Oh, sorry. I burst your bubble.
I feel like snow skiing is one of those things where I don't being cold outside is like the expectation. So yes, I would like to go snow skiing in the cold.
Yes.
Or like we in Wisconsin there or maybe it was Wyoming. There was a baseball diamond that they would ice over so you could do outdoor ice skating, and they would put up like boards around so it became a hockey rink. And I was like, this is the way you want to ice skate. You want to ice skate outside in the cold so you can experience it all. So
Right.
I do like the winter sports, but to me, walking is definitely a little bit more challenging to be motivated to do when it is colder.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, Sophia says, you become more flexible in the ranges you increase strength. It's counterintuitive. Yeah. It's very true.
There's a
Very,
lot of things that are actually like counterintuitive about human life.
that is true.
Hmm.
And like the thing that seems to make sense, it's like it's just not that
No.
simple. Yeah, kind of
Yeah,
like calories in, calories out, things like that, where it's like, oh,
right.
that just makes sense. And you're like, well, it's just more complicated.
Or fat makes you fat,
Right.
right? Because those
Right.
words are the same.
And of course, sugar wouldn't because it's not fat.
Right. The only thing that can make you fat is fat.
Duh. Okay, I have another thought this morning,
Oh
and
dear.
it comes from brewing up my not coffee.
Yeah. Are
So
you surviving?
I am surviving. Surprisingly,
Whoop,
I'm
whoop.
surviving. But like I'm sitting here drinking this, and it's a combination of rasa and some dandy blend because I cleaned out my pantry and discovered
Yes.
that I had a whole bag of dandy blend that I
Uh,
did not know that I had. And so I was like, well, I might as well, have this. And it's not bad.
sure.
It's not bad. Um anyways, I'm sitting here drinking. So this is a rasa, dandy blend, and keto brains. And I'm
Uh-huh.
like, am I just a vegan eating fake meat? Because that's kind of how it feels. I'm like, 'cause
So
it's not really that good.
we're just gonna do some comparisons here like we would on the SATs. Vegan is to carnivore as Dandy Blend Rasa fake coffee is to coffee.
Coffee junkie. Yes. So, because there's no way that I would be drinking this if it didn't remind me of coffee and cream, like, the same with the creamer. It's like, it's
Yeah.
only because it's like cream
Yeah.
that
It's
I'm drinking it.
adjacent. It's always adjacent.
So, I
It's
don't
so
know. I don't know
hard.
how I feel about that.
I don't know how to feel about that for you, but mm, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Alright, well,
It's like I don't know. It's kind of like whenever we go through and we get on our keto, when we first go over from a standard American diet to trying to eat healthier and cut out the sugar and cut out the carbs, but we're still like in the mindset of we've got to have, those cakes and those cookies and all of those things after a dinner. Like we need our
mhm,
dessert because we
mhm.
are emotionally still attached to those things. So we just replace everything with, almond flour or coconut flour or just all of these other options. And while those can be useful for a short period of time, eventually you're like, maybe I don't need to have the pacifier anymore and
Yeah,
I can continue on with life. So it's almost like you should probably just like completely switch over to tea because at least tea's not pretending to be coffee.
I guess, but you have to
Your
work for
face.
it. No, I should just drink hot cocoa every day, like, 'cause that tastes good. Why
And
not?
there's antioxidants in cocoa anyway.
Oh, yeah. Cocoa's
It's
good for you,
it's a
although
health
there is
benefit.
caffeine in it as well, but just a little bit.
But are you inclined to overconsume hot cocoa?
Maybe. That might just be more because it tastes delicious and
It
sweet.
does taste delicious.
So, anyways.
And it has that good rich mouth feel.
Yeah, so I feel like in my keto journey and now in my coffee journey, if you wanna call it that, it's like you go through these periods of cutting things out and, trying to
Mhm.
adjust, and a lot of times, trying to adjust includes replacements, and
Mhm.
then as you go along, you kind of learn I have kind of learned what things have value in and of themselves
Uh-huh,
and
uh-huh,
what
uh-huh.
things only had value because it was similar to the other thing
Ooh.
that I missed.
Ooh.
So
That's
there's this
that's a nugget
idea
of gold right there.
there's this idea that anything that's a replacement, it's just a band-aid, it's just, keeping the addiction going, all this stuff. And I have resisted, having that mindset because I don't necessarily think all of those things are true, although there's a little bit of truth in it. You can,
Sure. It's a spectrum.
continue. Yeah. But then there have been so I get comments like on my carnivore noodle recipe that's eggs and gelatin, this is terrible. This is just keeping people addicted to these kinds of foods and blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay. um
But
and
also,
is anyone really going to binge on egg whites and gelatin?
there is a satiation point with those.
I mean, I feel like it'd be the Alfredo sauce or something that would be more likely to cause and that's perfectly carnivore. I don't know. Anyways, so I went through, like especially back in the THM days, Trim Healthy
Yeah.
Mama Diet, they're really big on baked goods and making
Yeah.
replacements for everything.
Yep.
And, at first it's fun and it's exciting and a few things taste fine. But then after a while, I was just like, these don't actually have value to me beyond being a bridge to keep me from eating the real
Thing.
thing.
Yeah.
And once I was over that hurdle, I'm like, I'm not really tempted by the real thing anymore. It's not worth it at all to make, these cookies and these brownies and these uh back then it was different kinds of breads. I I
Yeah.
I I got to the point where I was like, it is worth it to me to make egg white bread because it actually tastes good.
Yeah. Well,
So that was a big change for me, actually.
yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree with you that the using the bridge foods is one of those things that is useful. It's a very useful tool. But
Yeah.
again, like we talk about our toolbox of different things that we can use on our, quest for health, it's not a tool that you have to use all the time.
Yes.
And when you get back over, like, and you've crossed over that phase of the process, you're like, okay, I can move on. Like, I don't need to sit here and have roofing nails whenever I'm trying to drywall a bathroom. Like, that's
Right.
not really useful. But
Right.
and I also, to the point about Trim Healthy Mama, I think that part of the reason they rely so heavily on those baked good alternatives, is because they are still utilizing a lot of carbs as their main fuel source. Like, they're constantly reintroducing the carbohydrates. And I'm not saying that carbs are the devil and nobody should ever eat carbs,
Right.
but I think that they tend to sort of nudge women or men, whoever's following the way of eating, they tend to nudge them over to saying, like, healthy carbs are what you want. But in my cynical mind, I'm thinking that, yes, if you continue to have people cycling on and off carbs, they're going to still continue to want those kinds of things, which means they're still
Oh,
going to continue
yeah.
to buy your ingredients. So they're still going to help your bottom line, because you could literally follow their diet without buying a single ingredient
Right.
and without buying anything, that's marketed by them, or that they push, and still be following the diet. But then
Right.
it's like you're that FOMO of missing out on all the fun of what the community is doing is there, but then
Right.
you're cycling off and on these carbs all the time, like every 3 to 4 hours. Ooh, maybe you should have carbs this time, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Do you
And if
think that the continually having these little bits of carbs is kind of feeding the addiction, so you never really get to that
it's
point of being like, "I don't really like this. Why am I making it?"
Right. Well, and yeah, I think that is
That makes
definitely
sense.
a factor in that whole process. And now they're going to sit there and say, like, there's science that shows that this is helpful, especially for like menopausal women, or this, that, and the other. But then I look at the carnivore doctor and I'm like, hmm, I cannot sit here and abide in the fact that every woman who is going through any kind of a hormonal shift in her life must have carbs. Like,
Yeah.
there have been
I mean,
enough
not
people to live a carbless life or an extremely low carb life who have, like, proven that they are thriving. Like,
right.
their bodies are healthy, their markers are healthy. So it's like I get a little cynical that
Yeah.
perhaps they want you to have those bridge foods so that they can continue to um, meet their bottom line. But
Uh-oh.
it that's
Yeah.
just my personal opinion, and I do not expect anybody else to act on my personal opinion.
Right, right. Yeah, so I think, like you were talking about carbs, like, there's great examples of women who have gone through those changes in life, later in life, that have done incredibly well, and so the to say everyone has to have carbs that's going through that, or else whatever terrible thing, it just doesn't seem to be true, but I do
Right.
think that the carbs are a tool that
Yes.
maybe it would be helpful for some women to use, um,
Absolutely.
and so and, like, for example, I've heard Laura Spath and I've heard, Dr. Lisa, the carnivore doctor, talk about this where it's like, maybe maybe it was Judy Cho and Laura
I feel
Spath.
like Judy is definitely more like pro skillfully using carbs
Yes. Like,
strategically.
they're like, in theory, they're like, this makes sense that maybe some people would do better adding a little bit of carbs, but especially someone like Laura Spass, she says, "It's not worth it to me, even if it would benefit my health, it's not realistic," like we were talking about earlier, with the way that she knows that her body works and how she feels when she eats, something sweet, it's like or, something carby,
Yeah.
it's likely to push her to do things she doesn't wanna do, and then you're in a way worse place, so it's like,
Yeah.
It's like in a perfect world, eating, a little tiny bit of sweet potato with your dinner is going to help you, blah, blah, blah. But if that's not the reality you live in, and if
Yeah.
you eat that little bit of sweet potato and then, like she said, is in, the tub of Ben and Jerry's, is that better? No. So like taking into account the humanity of it and like
Oh,
knowing
the
yourself. And it's kind of like what we talked about with the walking in the rain. It's like, I want to be like, well, just soldier through it, like just do the best thing. But it's like,
right.
let's remember that we're human and that we have ways in which we, are weaker, and
Yeah.
that maybe it's in the end, it will be better if we don't shoot for the perfection, but we shoot for, good enough and keeping us
Right.
out of the gutter.
Absolutely. I know for me that if I roast up sweet potatoes, it is not going to be just like, oh, I can eat, 2 ounces of
Yeah.
cubed up roasted sweet
Okay.
potato. That's not real for me. And it's not even that I'm going to go dig into like a tub of sugar filled ice cream. For me, it's that, oh, I'm going to eat like, I don't know, 3 pounds worth of sweet potatoes because they are so good to me. And it's like, it's not that I'm choosing something that's processed and horrific. It's an all like it's a wholesome one ingredient kind of food, but it's still not ideal for me. I mean, sweet potatoes really are a problem if I have them in the house. So I haven't cooked them in
Yeah.
a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's good to know yourself like that. Um, and yeah, so going back to the like replacements of things, like
Mm-hmm.
the way that my journey has gone, it was like find all the replacements because that's how I know how to eat. It's like I
Right.
eat this, I need to
Yes.
find a replacement for it, and then moving on from that to like, well, I don't really actually like the things that I'm eating. I'm only eating them because they remind me of the thing that I actually do like that I don't have anymore. And so then it's like, well, then that's not worth it to me.
Yeah.
Um, and then what I've found, more recently is that there are some actually good things that have value in and of themselves, like the egg
Mhm.
white bread for me. Not everyone
Right.
feels the same way, but for me, it's like it has value in and of itself. And I'm not eating it because it makes me think I'm eating regular bread. Like I haven't eaten regular bread in
Years.
15 years. Like that's not been a part of my regular diet. So this is like a brand new, food to me,
Hmm.
egg white bread. And so, like, that has value because it actually tastes good, and, like, just figuring those things out and not just having a hard line, like, "Oh, um, all of these replacement foods are great," or "All of these replacement foods are terrible and a problem." It's like, there's nothing in me that's going to binge on egg white bread, or if I eat some egg white bread, it's gonna make me go eat regular bread, or if I
Oh,
make
that's valid for sure. For
the
sure.
egg white noodles, like, they don't remind me enough of regular noodles that I'm gonna be like, "Well, I'm just gonna go eat a whole plate of pasta," like,
Right.
that doesn't even make sense to me. They're, like,
Yeah.
completely separate things, but I eat them because they have value in and of themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really, really good perspective on it. Kind of like, cauliflower used to be the golden child of the keto world. And here we
Yes.
have cauli mash and riced cauliflower. When I eat riced
Yes.
cauliflower, I enjoy that for what it is, but I
Yes.
don't
It's not
crave regular white rice. Like
yes.
that, I'm like, meh, meh. I don't miss that.
Yeah.
Or the pasta thing, like you were saying. My girls, they will still have pasta and they enjoy it thoroughly. And I'm like, I just don't feel a draw to that. I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and I can look at it and like, "Oh, yeah, I know that that tastes good." And I know that if I served myself a bowl of it, I would enjoy eating it, but I don't have that draw, like you said. Like, it's not like, "Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I need it, I need it." Not even at all.
Yeah.
So
And I do think that kind of like with the strength training, your yoga is a lot more um strong. Your yoga is a lot more fruitful because
mhm.
you strength trained in order to
Mm,
help support those things. So it's like when you first start on a keto diet or a low carb way of eating or whatever you moniker you want to put to it, it's hard at first, but then you start to expand your toolkit and you grow stronger in other areas. So you're no longer really drawn back to just going back to those garbage carbs that you used to eat.
Love how you drew that all together. That was
I don't
amazing.
think I did. I don't think I did it super well, but
It's fantastic.
if you gave me like another 30 minutes, I could overthink it and do a worse job.
All right. Sarah G is here for the first time. So just wanted to say
Hello.
welcome to
Welcome.
Sarah. Yeah, people saying hot cocoa for the win and add element. Absolutely.
I do
Any
agree
of
with
the
that.
chocolate elements, adding a little bit. I do like half a stick. A whole
Oh,
stick in, just a regular mug of hot chocolate is a little too much for me, but half a stick, it's perfect. It actually makes it so good.
is it the sweetness of it, a full stick, or is it the
Salty.
saltiness that's oh,
It's the saltiness for me. Yeah, I don't want to do too much of the saltiness. Actually, if I make keto chow hot chocolate, I will add a half a stick of element to that.
oh yeah.
And people complain about keto chow being too salty, but adding that little bit of element in there, oh my gosh, it's so good.
And I wonder if the cocoa that Keto Chow Chocolate uses is a different one than the one that Element uses, because Element's cocoa powder, like the cocoa color in it, seems to be less like warm brown and more of a cool toned brown, as if they had used like a black cocoa powder.
Oh,
And
okay.
so it kind of adds maybe like a different
Yeah,
depth to it
yeah,
almost. At least that's what I've experienced. But
yeah.
it's super
Your husband's leaving all the great comments today.
bless him.
Does Jared drink coffee? He does. Okay. I couldn't remember. Jeff does not drink coffee at all. He
Oh
drinks
yeah.
tea, and he
So
does look pretty affluent and very high
does he wear a bow tie?
Oh, absolutely. How can you drink tea without a bow tie? Actually,
Oh
last year
no.
Jeff got really into the element teas.
Sure.
He would do the chai with
Uh-huh.
any of the chocolate flavors, and then
Sure.
he got into like whipped cream on the top. Like, so he's like making these like super floofy
Decadent.
high tea lattes, and I was like, oh my gosh.
You're just like this far away from coffee, Jeff. You can do it.
Seriously. Yeah, no, he hasn't done coffee, but his what?
I had a question for you, but finish your thought
Well,
first
I
and
was
then
just
I'll
gonna say
my
his
question.
tastes have changed in the last few years. Like, he used to hate kombucha. Now he is obsessed with kombucha.
Because
He
it's
used to
amazing.
Okay, get this. He used to dislike chocolate and peanut butter together. He was like he's like, "I don't like it. I just don't like I don't the only way I like peanut butter is in a peanut butter and jelly sandwich." And he wouldn't eat a Reese's peanut butter cup, nothing but
Wow.
and then he had I don't remember what it was exactly that changed his mind, but he finally tried something that was chocolate and peanut butter, and he's like, "Oh my gosh." And now he's obsessed with chocolate and peanut butter. Like,
And if
now
you
it's
ever run
his
low on the
favorite
keto
thing.
chow chocolate peanut butter, y'all are in
He's
trouble.
addicted to the chocolate peanut butter keto chow. Yeah. So, see, and sometimes, you have struggles in your marriage and you're like, will this person ever change? Like, does these tendencies, like, is there ever going to be any growth? And then I look at my husband, I'm like, he's eating chocolate and peanut butter and he's drinking kombucha. And that is proof to me that anything is possible. There's always hope. So,
It's those little moments that really, really make a big heart impact.
yes. And so he doesn't drink coffee. He still doesn't drink coffee, but I'm like, "You know what? I bet that's gonna be the next thing that we're gonna be like,
Probably. Now that you've
"What?
stopped.
You love coffee now?"
So coming back to my
What a
question,
question.
has your grocery budget changed since you have reduced down to nothing your coffee intake?
Well, no, because I have a daughter that works at Starbucks and brings me free coffee every single week. It's the most frustrating thing.
Wait, does Autumn drink coffee or not?
She does, she got into it since she started at Starbucks, and because they're
Sure.
required to taste things, like, they have
Sure.
special
They have to know
tastings
what it
to do.
tastes like.
Yeah, and so she got into it, and she felt like she started drinking too much, and she's backed off. And so and, Starbucks, they have a lot of different options. If you don't like coffee, there's a lot
They
of other things
do.
you can
Yeah.
have. So, she's been
I
trying
could
to do a little less caffeine.
I don't think I would be capable of working at a Starbucks for the very reason that you have to drink all of those different drinks to know what they taste like.
Oh, yeah.
I
That's a
got
lot of sugar.
I got no
A
ability to
lot
manage
of sugar.
that.
Yes. Okay, so Blaze said, "Why not go all the way and use hot keto chow chocolate for the nutrition?" I was thinking about that because
Absolutely.
people are like, "You need to eat within 30 minutes of waking up for your hormones," and I don't know that that's necessarily true for everyone all the time.
Yeah.
But I was like, "What if I?" Because I'm used to, just making coffee right after I get up. What if
Yeah.
I just made that? And so it's like half of a meal. Yeah, because I wouldn't drink an entire one probably. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. So I've thought about it, but I haven't quite gotten there yet.
Sure.
But that's a
I have to
possibility.
say that I do really like using keto chow, like half of a keto chow as a hot chocolate is divine. I do, however, do a small little bit of additional acacia fiber to sort of make
Oh,
it even thicker
really?
when I do that because like they reduced a lot of the acacia
Yes.
fiber, but I have found that adding just like the tiniest little pinch of acacia fiber to the chocolate keto chow does increase the thickness of it, and it kind
Okay.
of makes it more like a sipping chocolate, like how over in European countries they do like that really thick
Very
sipping
rich.
chocolate.
Yeah.
It definitely makes it a little bit more like that, which is decadent and yet still perfectly healthy.
Yeah. And it's like a meal.
I know.
A meal.
I also had gotten in the practice of whipping up two servings of keto chow chocolate core in a big half-gallon jar,
Okay.
and then just taking a quarter of that each time. And that, winds up with a bit more liquid than the regular shaker bottles do. The shaker bottles are what, like 26 to 28 ounces,
Okay.
whereas like a half gallon is 64 ounces. So
Right,
you
right.
get it a little bit thinned out, which is
Oh, okay,
the
okay.
acacia fiber does help.
Yeah, yeah. When you make your hot chocolate make your stuff for hot chocolate, what fat do you use?
Butter.
Butter. Okay. Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
just find that for some reason, like the butter just clicks in my brain, and I feel like if I don't drink it, like within the first like 3 to 4 days of having it, it doesn't quite go off. And for
Mhm.
some reason, the cream that I buy, it seems like the longer that it sits mixed in something else, the higher the tendency for it to like turn a little bit wonky.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's just easier for me to do butter.
yeah. Yeah, I have not gotten into the habit of, like, pre-mixing keto chows just because
Hmm.
we usually like them as milkshakes, like iced
Yeah.
you can't pre-make those. Although I'm tempted because that would be so nice to have, like, the fridge stocked full, but I would
Yeah.
absolutely use butter. Everybody likes butter the best.
I
Yes.
got in a little bit of a habit there for a while of making up a whole bunch of them, like, between like 4 and 8 keto chows, sticking them in the fridge. And Jared, he's the one who would like come home and drink half of one as a snack or something before dinner. And so I got in the habit of doing that. And then he really likes the variety. So I couldn't just like bulk make,
Right, right.
8 banana or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that I couldn't. I also appreciate variety. But
Get bored really
I've
fast.
I've fallen out of habit with that here over the
Mm.
past like few weeks. But it's also because we've been eating breakfast, so he's not starving when he comes home usually anymore.
Ah.
Um, Although he's kind of gone back to intermittent fasting. I don't know. We
Oh,
like
yeah.
to
Oh,
change
it's
things
like
up all the time.
yeah.
We cannot be constant with very much.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I'm tempted to just mix up a bunch and put them in there, but I don't know. Haven't gotten there yet, and I was doing that with the creamies over the
Right.
summer, but I just have not been having as many creamies since the weather has changed, but
Yeah, I wonder if you mixed up a bunch, like with, say, like only like 2/3 full and then just dump it in the blender with ice to make the smoothie portion, or not smoothie, but the milkshake.
Yeah.
I wonder how that would go.
But then I'm cleaning the blender twice.
Ooh, valid,
I
valid.
don't know.
That
If I'm gonna have to clean the blender, I might as well just make the whole thing.
you might as well. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Oh, and I guess you probably are making it to where, like multiple of y'all are having it together.
Yeah.
So
We
you're not
usually
just
do.
doing like individuals.
Yeah. I don't usually do that. Sometimes I'll like make one for myself in the afternoon and then make one for Jeff in the evening. But
Sure.
anyways, it's not that. It's easier than cooking a dinner. Are you
Ha. I am. My eye here today has just really been giving me fits,
Mm,
and it's all gonna be okay.
yeah. Andy says having pre-diabetic diagnosis has actually been easier because now I have a valid reason to tell people I can't eat that. Before it was,
Mm.
you're on another diet. Yeah, like, oh, not again. Yeah, that does come in handy. Like, use that to your advantage. Like, nobody wants a diagnosis, like, but if you have one, take advantage.
And I think that kind of says something about our society at large, that people are unwilling to respect your choices unless it comes from like a medical professional spot, which that's kind of sad.
Yeah,
Kind of sad. But I
yeah.
mean,
Well, I
so
do
go on diet
understand,
all the
like,
time.
having been someone who's done a lot of different diets, and where,
Yeah,
when you say, "I'm doing this diet, I can't eat that," and then the next time they see you, you're eating that, you know, you lose a little bit of credibility. So I know that for me,
sure.
that definitely would play into it, where it's like, "Oh, just another diet." But then I guess, having someone outside of yourself, saying you're diagnosed with this and you can't have it, and you'd be like, "Oh,
Sure.
it's not me, it's them. They're telling me I can't have it." Oop,
Here's the bad guy, and it's not
Yeah,
me.
exactly.
I'm
So,
not a flake. I promise. It's just that my doctor said.
yes. Don't let the perfect get in the way of the very good. Yes, that is so true. Just recognizing that we are humans and that we are not perfect. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know about any of you all, but I'm not.
Are any of you all bots?
On YouTube, it is a possibility. All right. Jared says this is why we can't trust Jeff's judgment on hot beverages. Yeah. He's a frou-frou tea drinker. Yeah.
Poor Jeff. And he's not even here to defend himself.
No,
He's
he's
probably
not.
out there
You
like
know what? He could be here though, because
building
Jared
stuff.
is here. He could be here, but he chooses to spend his time elsewhere. And that is his own fault. No, he is working very hard. Actually, he's working up on Mount Hood building a
Ooh.
house. And like right now, it's like the weather is becoming an issue. So he's trying to get everything done that he has to get done when the weather is decent. And yeah.
Yeah. You always got to fight the weather when you're a contractor.
Yes. Especially on a mountain.
Yeah.
um Sing It says hubby stopped drinking soda and is obsessed with sparkling water. There's always hope. Yes. We are still obsessed with sparkling water. Like that's one thing, like that's one of those ones that there's value in and of itself. I
Yes.
don't drink it because it makes me think I'm drinking Coke. I have not drank Coke for 15 years, like that's just not a thing in my life right now. But sparkling water is good because it's sparkling water.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. I am all in on seltzer water no matter what. Like I love the bubble experience. It doesn't need to have any flavor at all. I'm just perfectly happy with my fizzy waters.
Yeah, I love it. Like, especially like the Waterloo, like the orange or the grape. I mean, it tastes like I'm drinking a soda. I'm like,
Really?
why would I need sugar in this? I don't. It's so good.
Sure.
They're my
I
favorite.
For me even like I just straight plain. Like it doesn't have to have anything in it.
Yeah,
No
it's
flavoring at
so
all.
good.
I'm just happy to drink
Really
carbonated
go for
water.
one of those right now. I have
I would too.
I have a half a cup of coffee alternative left, but I don't feel like drinking it.
I have this sad wannabe coffee.
Yeah.
It's like a
It's
vegan
not healthy,
hot
and it's
dog.
not hot anymore. Like, Once it's not hot, it's like, "Ugh, this is really bad now."
Yeah. Yeah. That is unfortunate.
Sophia is asking, "Have you tried Cocoa Tropic from Wild Foods? It has reishi
No.
mushroom." I have not. Is
No.
it it sounds like a hot cocoa.
And it
I've
sounds like it must have adaptogens in it.
Yes. So, I know Rasa has a hot cocoa, and when I was, like, shopping the site, like, trying to find something to replace my coffee with, I saw the hot cocoa and I was like, "Oh, that would be good," but then I'm like, "I have so many ways I can make hot cocoa already at home. I
Yeah.
don't need to buy another one." Um,
That's the
yeah,
truth of
so
it
I
right
don't
there.
but they do have one that has the, adaptogens and stuff in it, but that
Sure.
sounds like it would probably be similar. Sounds good. Let's see.
I'm so glad that
Lori
you're keeping up
here.
on all of these because
Oh,
I am not keeping up on the chat
no
at all.
worries. No worries. Lori is here. She's here for a live. Usually watches it
Wow.
on replay. It's
Well,
exciting.
thanks for being able to be here right now.
Sophia says chocolate collagen also adds some thickness. Yeah. When I'm being really wild, I'll do a keto chow hot chocolate, and for the fat, use perfect keto MCT oil chocolate.
Oh man.
And you add extra water because it's too much sweetness. But the
Yeah. Yeah.
chocolate, because like you were saying with the element and the keto chow, I feel like the perfect keto chocolate flavor is just a completely different kind of chocolate
Yeah.
flavor. And
Yeah.
so when you put them
And
together,
both are good. Both are really
yes,
good. But when you
yeah,
combine them, they really shine.
yeah, you get the best of all worlds. Yeah. But that's a lot of, it's a lot of
Extra
products we're talking
steps.
about. Well, I'm thinking of the people who, don't want to buy the branded products. There
For
are lots
sure.
of ways to make keto hot chocolate without any of these.
Yeah.
These are just easy, and we have them, and they're delicious,
Right.
so we use them. But, I have a hot cocoa mix that I made a year or so ago. I made it all powdered, so, it's really easy just to mix with water, but so it has coconut milk powder and it has MCT oil powder, which, that I guess those are products, they're, you know, that you have to
Yeah.
buy. But you could totally do whatever keto milk substitute you like, whether it's, like Fairlife milk or
Fairlife milk is pretty low carb. I don't know that I would consider it like flat out keto friendly, but 6 grams of carbs for 8 ounces
oh, yeah,
of milk isn't awful.
yeah, or you could do, like, some heavy cream with
Heavy
some
cream.
water, and then you just add your cocoa. You wanna have, like, some kind of an immersion blender for
Yeah.
that or frother or something, and then, whatever sweetener, and I always recommend adding some salt. A pinch of salt if you can to the hot
Yeah.
cocoa, it makes it really good. So,
Yeah.
you don't have to have all of these, products, but they're delicious if you have the money for them. They're delicious if you don't have the money for them. Either way.
So, mathematically speaking, if all heavy whipping cream in America has carbs, it has what is it like 0.43 grams of carbs per tablespoon.
Yes.
Um,
Uh,
then by that particular logic, using Fairlife milk in place of heavy cream, it only has 0.375 grams of carbs per tablespoon. So it reduces your carb count by about 5, 6 carbs,
okay.
or
But of
point
course, you would never use
oh
8
five.
ounces of heavy cream.
Sorry.
I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Maybe some people
But
would.
also, heavy cream has that mouthfeel that regular whole milk doesn't. So
Yeah.
it's not really a value add
Yeah.
unless you are
I
just
would
like
just use
super,
the less cream and water.
yeah, unless you're just super nitty gritty with your carbs. I
Yeah.
would also suggest that baker's chocolate that you can get in the baking aisle, you break off like they have them, like it's pure
Yes.
cocoa and butter, cocoa butter, but you just break off one of those little things and stick it under some hot water. And if you need some sweetener, like a couple drops, they always have some form of like a stevia like liquid form or monk fruit liquid form or something to that effect at the grocery stores around here anyway. And then obviously the pinch of salt makes everything better. And
Yes.
you could technically do something as simple as that. And those Baker chocolate bars around me are like 250 per bar. And I
That
would
was
bet
a lot
you
of
would
hot
get like between 8 and 12 maybe cups of hot chocolate out of that if that was the only thing you used it for. So
chocolate.
I do think that there are some very budget friendly ways to satisfy that.
Yes.
And you can still, you know, stay within your own individual requirements on a low carb keto way of life.
Yes. Fun fact, we found out when we toured a chocolate factory that
Yeah,
there is a difference between hot chocolate and hot cocoa.
there truly is.
And
Yes,
what you described is hot chocolate
that's
because
right.
it's the cocoa plus the cocoa butter
Butter.
in there, and then but like my recipe for mix is just hot cocoa because it doesn't have the cocoa butter in there. So
Yeah.
fun
Well, and
hot
that
chocolate
cocoa
fact.
butter, it not only it's like valuable for the flavor profile, but it's also valuable in that it's the fat to
Yeah,
sort of help that mouthfeel be
yes,
more authentic.
very rich.
Mhm.
Delicious.
Mhm.
All right, there's people talking about the Soda Streams and Topo Chico.
We do love Topo Chico. It's it's divine. It's got like those perfectly fine little bubbles
Oh, I
as
don't know.
compared to like a like a bigger bubble.
Yeah,
So it's a very enjoyable, pleasant drinking experience.
yeah, yeah. I have only tried Topo Chico a couple of times, and I remember liking it, but it's so expensive.
It is very expensive, and there was like a shortage of Topo
Oh,
for a really long time where you could not go to the store and get it.
yeah,
And we would go down to my parents' house, and they're in Texas, and different access at that
yeah.
point. And my mom and dad had like 2 or 3 cases of Topo Chico sitting on a shelf in their garage. And my middle, she was just like, look at all the Topo.
Oh, that's funny.
You're pretty all right in my kid's book if you've got a whole bunch of Topo Chico sitting in
Yeah,
the garage.
I'll have to remember that. Risa is here.
Hi,
I'm mixing a
Risa.
tablespoon of keto chow caramel macchiato with a bit of cream and water and adding it as a creamer to my morning coffee with a drop of liquid stevia. That sounds good. Um,
Very cool.
yeah, there's been talk about like how to use keto chow in coffee a
Okay.
lot,
Okay.
and there's lots of different ways to do it.
Sure.
You can, just whiz the powder into the coffee, or you
Hmm.
can like make yourself up a creamer, like make a keto chow with like extra heavy cream or whatever you want to use for the fat, and keep that in your fridge, and then pour that into the coffee, and then um Chris was saying on the live stream last night, sometimes, you want to make a keto chow with coffee instead of water. And that's adding coffee to your keto chow, not keto chow to your coffee.
I mean, the direction in which you go matters.
I guess so.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Well, it's kind of like,
you
are
gotta
you having
properly
some
name
keto
it.
chow in your coffee, or are you having some coffee in your keto chow? You know,
It's
it's like
two
the old,
different things.
yeah, it's like the old joke. You having a little coffee with your cream?
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I, for one, don't do a lot of keto chow in my coffee
Yeah, I
just
don't.
because I really prefer keto chow to stand alone if I'm drinking it.
Yeah.
And I will do it as a steamer all day long because that's my personal favorite.
Yeah. Favorite.
I was gonna say preference and favorite at the same time, and we got a favorite. But I could see how people would want to use it as a coffee creamer.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
you know,
well, I don't do sweet coffee.
yeah, I
Apparently, I don't do coffee at all, so there's that
for now.
for now. Actually, I have had decaf a few times, but, like, I was telling Lindsay the other day, I find that I just can't make it through a whole cup of decaf coffee. Like, I just lose interest in it, and it does not get drunk.
That
It
is so the opposite for me.
Yeah.
I'm
So
like, oh,
so
decaf? I do not care. Yes,
so I
please.
feel like maybe for me, decaf is just a value to me because it reminds me of caffeinated coffee. But for
Uh,
you, you have found true value in decaf. It's you love decaf for what it is,
yeah,
not what it reminds you of.
that's
So
valid.
you have
Yes.
ascended to a higher level than I have.
Somebody's got to pave the way. I will walk so that you can run.
You go. Well, you also drink black coffee. Like I never was
I
able to get
do. I
there
do.
either. So I mean, you're just better than me in so many ways.
Ugh, except for the fact that I'm not doing a boot camp.
Oh,
And I don't do the yogurts.
and
And
yeah, yeah.
oh my word. My husband tells me all the time, you make a lot of jokes. Maybe make fewer jokes. And I'm like, but I like me making jokes.
Quality
I
over
want to
quantity.
laugh at me.
Oh,
Also, like my husband just popped in asking the question, can you taste the difference between regular and decaf? I cannot. I
I
cannot. And
can.
I just really like just I don't know. I just really like the warmth of it. I like I guess coffee tastes bitter. I don't really taste a lot of bitterness in
Yeah,
it. I really like the flavor overall. So,
I can taste the difference.
oh,
I definitely can. Yeah.
I'm
Well,
I'm
and
a
then
less discerning palate.
it's hard because you can't just get a roast of coffee and get the exact same roast in decaf. I mean, some brands have that, but so maybe it's partly because of the roast, but I do think I can taste the difference.
Okay. So
Just
we do.
not as not as much oomph. That's all I got. Yeah. What does caffeine taste like?
Magic.
It tastes like oomph. It I don't know. And so, okay, this makes me think of another thing, which we probably shouldn't get in a tangent on because we're already at an hour and 2 minutes. But
Yes.
like we were talking about the other week of um, things that we do that make us eat more because
Oh, right.
food pairings or sweet and savory, like things that trick your appetite to make
Yeah.
you have more room, for the dessert after you just ate a giant steak dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so caffeine apparently causes me to drink a whole lot more cream than decaf coffee because I'm leaving half of a cup like that I'm not even interested in. It's not like I'm like, "Oh, I need to stop myself from drinking so much cream." It's like, "Make it decaf and I just won't drink it."
Wow.
Like, what's up with that? There's so many of these little things to be
Sure.
aware of.
Sure. So, side question. There's a point to this, I think. I think there's a point. When you make coffee, are you still using a Keurig and just loading your Keurigs with like a refillable Dealy Bop?
No,
Or what are you doing to make coffee?
I typically use a AeroPress.
Okay, okay.
You've used one of those, right?
Mm-mm.
No?
Just like if I've used French presses, but not.
Yeah. AeroPress, I think, is just about as good as espresso shots.
Ooh.
It's really good. The only thing I don't like about it is that it's plastic and you're putting hot coffee or hot
Into
water into
stick.
plastic. They don't have another option. They swear that it's like the best kind of plastic. And I'm like, okay. But it almost makes a espresso shot because of the way it's like pressing the air through it and like just
Sure.
extracting everything.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So
So
it's good. It's way better than Keurig in my opinion.
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of different ways to make coffee that are superior to the Keurig. I just prefer
Mhm.
having the simplicity of it.
Yes.
Even though like we brew a full pot in like we set it up the night. Well,
Right.
reverse. I set it up the night before because I am impatient. And I need it to be like ready to go when I'm awake. And I like the Keurig because it is quick, expedient, and tidy. And for us, we do have we like the Black Magic
Ooh,
K
yeah.
cups.
Yeah, those are
And they do sell those as decaf as well. So
oh, yeah.
I literally cannot taste a difference between
Okay.
a regular dark magic,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Right.
a decaf dark magic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't,
Yeah, I was a couple of years ago that I bought a Keurig, and when I first started using it, I was like, "This coffee does not taste quite as good as, the AeroPress, but the convenience to me is worth it," and I got used to it, and I used it for a good year,
yeah,
and I was like I knew in my mind, I was like, "If I go back to the, AeroPress, I'm not gonna wanna go back to the Keurig." So I, like, just kept using the Keurig because of the convenience, and then finally one
yeah.
day I did go back to the AeroPress, and I was right. I was like, "This is so good." So,
Valid. It's
yeah, but
valid. It's
I do
valid.
like having the Keurig for, like, when people come over and stuff.
Right. And it's so much easier and quicker to like be like, okay, I just want 12 ounces of hot water. Okay, I just really want
Yeah,
this.
yes,
Um,
there's definitely
and
convenience.
there's a huge convenience factor. And I know like if if we were a family who had multiple preferences when it came to like the roast of the coffee or the
Right,
strength of
right,
the
right.
coffee, that would really be a value add, or like an espresso or something to that effect. But yeah, we're constantly just like, should we get an espresso machine? And then Jared's over there talking about getting the Jura. I don't know what model
I
that
don't
is, what brand that is. Is it a Jura or is it a Jura?
is
But there's
oh,
something he was talking to me one day about
is that a
having
espresso maker?
I guess it must be an espresso machine, but he had talked to me at one point about an espresso machine built into the kitchen like wall setup.
Oh,
And I'm like,
that's intense.
okay, where is that going? And what?
Yeah, that's a whole 'nother level of
it
dedication.
it really is.
Yeah.
Chris Bear is back. And Chris Bear and Jared are having a blast.
That's how it usually goes around here. Um, you mean you haven't ever purchased pure caffeine and tasted it? That is very weird. Can can I get the new Keto Chow caffeine oomph flavor? Yes. Yes.
If that becomes the April Fool's flavor for this coming April, we
We get
call it
royalties
solid. Solid.
because they're
Definitely.
making bank on April Fool's flavors.
Absolutely.
No, what
We're
they're gonna do
totally gonna
is
get
instead of the electrolytes, they're gonna have the little pocket flask of Keto Chow caffeine oomph, and you just add it to any of the ones, and it just makes it taste better.
we're gonna take 10% of those sales. Thanks.
Yeah, we'll call it daily oomph. Oh
Okay,
my.
but really, how do we market that now? Like how do we get on to the formulating of that?
Yes, and, like, our little faces will be on the back of the bottle just like Ken Berry's on the back of the Daily Minerals,
Yes,
and
I'm
then it will
in.
be
Can I
perfect,
have can I have
and we
hair
will have
changing?
taken over the world.
Can we do mine as a hair changing picture though? So like half like holographic. So one way I've got the long hair, and then the other way it's like, oh, it's short.
I don't see any other way we could do it.
I mean,
Oh my, alright, I think
we have really devolved.
our live stream is descending into chaos very fast. We should probably get off because our whole houses are descending into chaos very fast at this point.
Accurate.
Ooh, Vegana from Sweden is here. Hello. Let's
Hey.
see, and Cindy is here. Let's see, she's saying, in college biochemistry class, we extracted caffeine from aspirin. I didn't know caffeine
How
was in aspirin.
Oh,
Just
for
bitter.
sure.
Huh,
That's fascinating.
it is fascinating. Yes.
Okay, I gotta go.
Alright.
We're gonna take 20 seconds for me to search on Amazon if there's like just pure caffeine powder.
Oh, yum. Risa
It came
says
up as a search term.
they have a Nespresso and love it. The worst thing is you can't find many pods in physical stores. Yeah, I never upgraded to the new like round pods for the Nespresso. I was tempted to because it looks good, but I knew that they weren't going to be cheap and easy to find in stores. The old, the littler ones are very easy to find. Okay, did you find it?
Well, I found quite a few options.
Okay.
Nutricost has like caffeine pills that are just
Yes.
straight caffeine.
Yeah.
There's L-theanine, which is not caffeine.
No,
Um,
it's in tea that's supposed to help
uh-huh.
with the caffeine.
I see a bulk supplements caffeine capsule.
Yes.
So now we just got to figure out how to stabilize it in a liquid form so that it can be in the little bitty
Oh
containers.
yeah, the little pocket flask.
Oh, did you see what Chris said? He sees the one for bulk supplements, but he has purchased it before, and it
Okay.
is very dangerous.
Yeah. I could
Perhaps we will not be putting my holographic image on caffeine.
Let's just have lots of warning labels.
This is not a health product. Consume at your own risk. Please consult a doctor, healthcare professional, or a nurse before consuming this product. This is not recommended for anyone living or breathing.
Or dead.
Also not dead.
Ellie from Nourishment Redacted is here. Hello.
Hello.
All
We're starting
right.
to like wind it down though, so I'm sorry.
Yes, we are.
We're having to do that right as you pop in.
Yeah, we have already descended into chaos. So
We sure have.
Oh, the only brand that has the Virtuo pot, Virtuo, is that how you say it?
Virtuo pot.
Walmart and Target both have it. Yeah, they're just not as
Uh-huh.
easy to find as the other ones. All right. Well, that was a fun time.
We did offer some value before we fully descended into chaos.
Some
So
people find value in chaos, so we'll just leave it there.
solid.
Okay. All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
So long.
We will be back next week, same time, same place. And have a good week. And we didn't even talk about Halloween.
Well,
Hope everyone had
we're
a
already into
fun
November.
Halloween and didn't go overboard on the candy.
Right. We're already looking forward.
Yeah, there you go. Bye, everybody.
Bye.